Wow! Successfully joined another stream, Matt. I am getting better at picking the correct channel. I haven't made any errors for a while. Just let's test your microphone, see if you're with us, Matt.
I am indeed with you, and I will now ask you the question, as I often do to my wife. Did you bother to check the live stream key before you hit send?
Oh, yeah, because you know everything. You don't need to wife me, Matt. I am well wifed. I am over wifed, if anything.
No. I asked my wife. I wait for her to do something, then ask if she included an important step, like we're packed to go, and she's packed out. I said, "Did you put this in the suitcase?" And that really drives her insane.
What, are you asking her an obvious thing that is like, just because she made that mistake once, you're going to keep going on and on and on about it?
No, it's not even a mistake. It's just like, well, you're done, but now I will ask you some random question about how you accomplished that task in order to ensure it was done according to my specifications.
And then
But
what
in your
you've done,
case,
well, you've delayed the holiday, and in this case, you're delaying the stream starting. All they're hearing is our voices bickering. This is a terrible start. Okay, guys, including our guest, make sure that you're muted when you're not chatting. That will help cut down on background noise. And let's do some things. And again, I'm not pausing because I forgot to set up my soundboard and turn the volumes up to the right level. And I'm definitely not stalling because I've forgotten which fader I plugged it into. So I think you'll find there's no obstacles left for me to simply do this. Hey everyone, welcome to the Remain Indoors podcast, where we'll be looking at some lighter news from around the internet, having a grumble where required, and talking about the ways we're keeping ourselves entertained at home. Remain indoors. Welcome to the stream, guys. We're here for the next 40 minutes or so talking about life and games and telly and music and exercise, all the things keeping us occupied during the lockdown. And each day we'll try and bring you an interesting person from our network of podcast and radio friends. And first, among equals of my podcast friends is Matt Two Rumpets. How's it going, Matt?
it's going very well. I was just informing the chat room that it's airport rules as far as drinking goes.
Wow, we need to get through just one intro without talking about either that we've started drinking, that we desperately want to start drinking, or the imminent drinking that we'll be doing. Everyone's drinking. I think if we just have one blanket statement that it's okay to be a little bit tiddly the entire time during the lockdown, we can put that to bed.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know how you're getting on, but at our house, this is the week of fixing all the things.
Yeah, you said that yesterday was the day of... No, on Tuesday you said Monday was the day of fixing all the things. Have you
Yes,
forgotten that you've told us about the fixing of all the things?
Well, because I have completed the projects.
Oh!
That's why.
So she's completely satisfied and she's off your back completely.
Well, no. But yes, I have ticked off my personal checkbox, and I don't know how you are, but well, I can save the windshield wiper story for later. But I finally managed to get my wipers done, and I have to say it was definitely worth it to save like the $20 instead of just getting dead up replacement wipers.
Okay.
I first broke them, tried to fix them, couldn't fix them, eventually came up with a way I could fix them. Didn't order OEM blades because they took too long. I ordered other replacement blades, which didn't fit. So I wound up having to slice the original blades off and glue the replacement blades back on. But now it's all done. And it only took me even longer than it would have taken just to order original replacements and just simply put them on the car in a very easy fashion. So that was quite rewarding.
Well, I have 2 points for that. A, was that more or less interesting than my Aqua Dragon story? Chat room, I have to know. And B, why are you doing car maintenance now when you're not going anywhere? Surely you need to prioritize the in-house stuff.
In case we need the car, you need functional windshield wipers, or they give you a fix-it ticket.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Good. How have you done getting out of bed on time? Because we have slipped the last 2 days. All right, fine, I'll be honest. The last 4 days, the children have had a feral 2-hour periods without us downstairs in the morning. So much so that basically 9 o'clock is our wake-up time at the moment. We woke up at 5 to 9 yesterday, and my wife suddenly was like, oh, God, I've got a lesson at 9. You know, we've stopped setting alarm clocks, and we've just like, we'll get up. We're not lazy people. We're not going to be in bed at 9 o'clock at our first appointment. So we woke up at 5 to 9. Big emotions, big like, we're going to be really late. And then lots of like looking at me as if, am I going to offer to help set up the studio and her piano and her lessons and stuff? And I was like, I'm not falling into that trap. I'm not getting into that stress bubble right now. That is your issue. Good luck. She made tea. She went in there, just about got everything done, not too late. And then I heard the bin lorries outside. So we're always up for the bin lorries. But yeah, the bin lorries suddenly surprised us. So I'm out in my cap in a dressing gown. I forget all about social distancing and everything like that. I grab my bin. I have to run down the road to this bin man. And I'm like charging towards him with a bin. And he's looking at me going, is he going to stop? Like, is he going to... And it's just as I got towards him, I went, oh yeah, that's right. We're not meant to. So I put the bin in front of him and like backed away. And he's just looking at me like, oh, cheers, boss. Now I've got to touch your Corona handprints on this bin.
Yeah, I still maintain the single most useful superpower ever would be to magic the bins.
Magic the bins. In fact, I'll put a note about superpowers. We've been doing a lot of superpowers in our house. But first, I think we need to bring on my radio friend and running coach and source of constant disappointment in me. It's girlrunninglate.com's Lauren Thomas. How are you, Lauren?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I just can't imagine for a second that you are sleeping in till 9 o'clock at all.
No, I'm really not. No, I generally don't do that.
You're a horribly motivated person. I hate you. How? And also why?
Why am I horribly motivated? Or why do you hate me?
Oh, no. I know why I hate you. I hate you because you make me feel bad about myself. But yeah, no, why are you so motivated? And is it a front or do you cry in between energetic Instagram?
It's absolutely a front. I'm going to get off this and I'm going to eat all these Easter eggs that you can't see behind me because I've used a screen to hide them.
Absolutely. But when we see your Instagram, you really look like you've thrown yourself into the lockdown routine. You are a running coach, an inspirational social media influencer. That's
stretching it a bit.
I know, but you know, if you lie about your guests and big them up, then maybe they'll do better content.
Fair.
If I was to say mediocre runner and fitness coach, you'd probably get angry and go off and hang up. So I thought I'd be nice.
That's a good point. How am I so motivated? I think I just need something to get my energy levels up every day. So I'm just joining in all these different online classes. A lot of these are run by my friends and my friends go to them as well. So it's like a social element as well.
Me and the kids have been trying to, get involved in those things as well. Like the boys had some drum lessons online and my little girl still does her dancing and singing lessons online. And although you could go and just watch like something on YouTube that is dance lessons, or you could just watch Joe Wicks in the morning on YouTube. These clubs have sort of, if they're still the regular people you hang out with, it is still a social event.
Exactly, yeah. So we all sort of chat before the class and then we chat after the class as well. So it's a way of staying in touch with all my friends and family who I'm just not seeing for weeks and weeks.
So are you taking any of those classes or are you just involved in them?
No, because the only qualification I've got is as a running coach, and there's not really a way of doing Zoom running coaching, I don't think, that wouldn't end up in me face planting on a pavement.
Well, you say that, but Matt?
I was going to say, I think we might have a story for that.
Yeah, but I was going to do it later, so I had not quite prepared to click on the link. But essentially, it was the guy who ran a marathon in his backyard, Lauren. You could do something like that, couldn't you?
Well, I don't even want to run a marathon normally, let alone in my tiny little back garden, which is smaller than that guy's. But yeah, there are ways that you can do it. But for us, actually, as a coach, you kind of need to be with that person, watching how they're running, looking at their movements, making sure they're not going to injure themselves. So,
did you do an analysis of this guy running in his very small backyard? I would say that's no more than about 8 meters backwards and forwards.
No, to be fair, I haven't looked at it in that much detail, but I can't imagine his form was very good by the end.
Well, good on this guy. We'll just give him a shout out. I mean, it's had quite a lot of publicity. I'm reading from the Huffington Post. British man thwarts lockdown by running marathon in backyard. So this is James Campbell, and he spent his 32nd birthday on Wednesday by running at least 7,000 laps of his backyard. So he's a professional javelin thrower, this guy, and he said that if he got 10,000 retweets, he would run a marathon in his back garden. So 6 meters backwards and forwards, shuttling from one end to the other, and absolutely fair play to the lad. He has raised over £18,000 for the British National Health Service, helping people battling the coronavirus pandemic.
Oh, that's amazing.
But it does look a bit more like a bleep test than anything, going backwards and forwards like that.
Yeah, I think they were saying he's like really having to shuffle, so I can't imagine it's very good for your body to be sort of doing those tight turns over and over and over. He must be really feeling it now.
And you can't like really sort of stretch out, so it is more of a shuffle. So here we go. Your main thing is as a runner and a running coach, and you've got the fantastic blog, girlrunninglate.com. My only criticism of which is that the blog posts are they're really long. Like, I think you would have to really like reading to enjoy your blog. I like lists of things.
You like lists of things?
Yeah,
okay,
like
tell you what, I'll write a list of all the things that you need to be doing while you're in lockdown. There you go. That'll keep you happy.
Yeah, but then I'll have to follow them, and then I'll be sleepy,
Yes.
and then I'll be tired. I've been struggling to get out of bed. But yeah, your blog, you do a lot of like really long form, in-depth articles. So like if you're into running and reading, it's different to a lot of the blogs we see.
Yeah, I don't want to just be reviewing races over and over and over. I don't see there's a huge amount of value in that. I want to talk about different training models and about the mental side of running as well. It's not just about, oh, I got a PB at Parkrun. Sweet. It needs to be, I want it to have more depth than that.
So PB, that's a technical term, which I've learned is personal best. So just for anyone out there who didn't. Matt, I know you don't understand. I know acronyms and initialisms confuse and anger you. So I was just making that clear for you, really.
Peanut butter.
Oh, I got a peanut butter today. No, that's definitely not what it is. Lauren, you are a communicator, first and foremost, I think. Is that fair?
I think that is fair. I do that for my day job as well.
Yeah, in life, you're a communicator. It didn't surprise me at all when I found out you were a communications manager. So you come on the radio with me on occasion. You talk to me about running, and I think your greatest achievement so far on FM radio is that you got me talking about periods, ladies' periods, on FM radio, and I was a squirming, embarrassed teenager with a red face going, oh, blimey, I'm going to get in trouble here.
Yeah, that's going on my CV. I'm so proud of that. And I've never seen you look so uncomfortable, because normally you're totally in charge of that room that we're in. And this time it just felt like you were so out of your comfort zone. It's amazing.
I was so scared of saying something wrong about periods, because I've never experienced one. I've only ever been on the receiving end. And even saying on the receiving end is deeply offensive. However, as a man who has had a wife and girlfriends, that is how it can feel sometimes. Yet there is a breakdown in communications, I think, between men and women about the actual effects that has, particularly in sport. And what you were saying about teenage girls during school times, I think that a lot of girls out there aren't used to hearing that on radio. And I was really pleased they could hear someone like you talking about it.
Well, they're not used to hearing about it full stop. It's still seen as something that you keep secret or you hide. And it's just, it has such an impact on sportswomen. I mean, it's starting to come out into the press a bit more. People like Heather Watson, Eilish McColgan have both been talking about how their cycle has impacted on their performance. And these are top level athletes. But it still makes headline news, and one of them does this. And it's so ridiculous. It's like 50% of the population are dealing with this every month. And yet it's still like, oh, no, don't talk about it. It's going to make some people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
As the chat room figures tumble. But no, not at all. No, not at all. But like, as blokes, we are used to kind of a very male-centric media. So it has been run by men over the last few decades. So these issues haven't come out. And certainly when I was at school, I had absolutely no idea what my female contemporaries were going through. So like, what is the biggest practical for us dumb men? Explain it to us as if we were small children of that. I can't even say the word. How do periods make sport hard?
There's a number of different elements. There's a mental sort of side of things. Obviously, you can get more depressed around your period. There's the physical side of things, like having to, if I go to like a race and it's on my period, I need to make sure I've got the supplies with me that I need. But also, you're having to use a Portaloo, which is completely unbearable to try and do something like that. And then you've also got the fact that it's having such an impact on the way your body changes, especially if we talk about teenage girls. So a load of them drop out of sport around the time they start their periods. And it's because they're worried about leakage, they're worried about just sheer embarrassment of being on their periods. And that's really problematic, because you can absolutely do sport and be on your period. It's really not a problem. And actually, there's research that shows that it's good for your mental health if you do exercise on your period. But there's also another element I've been reading up on recently, is that you're more likely to get injured on your period when you exercise. So you have to be aware of that and perhaps not push yourself quite as hard.
Well, I was going to ask a bit about the physiologic effects. I mean, do you find that, because I know some teens suffer from borderline anemia during their period. I mean, I know for us personally, we put our daughter on birth control to help with that. And I can see Spanners is going to enjoy that conversation in about another 6 or 7 years.
I was just thinking, I've got an 8-year-old girl here who's very active, very into sport. And as much as I want to squirm away from it, like, I need to understand this. So I need to know, the answers to Matt's question, really. And a lot of dads are in the same boat.
So remind me what the question actually was again.
The question was, physiologically, do you find that on your period, your performance drops because of like anemia and stuff like that, or is it more complex?
Anemia isn't super common. I mean, it will affect some people, but I mean, I was anemic just through donating blood, and it had a massive impact on my ability to sort of breathe properly. It felt like I was doing altitude training. I could not get the breath going well enough, and I'd have to stop after a mile. And I'm somebody who can run 4 or 5 miles quite comfortably. So if there is somebody who suffers with anemia, that will have an impact. But there's also an increase in something called relaxin around the time you have your period, and that's the same chemical that helps a woman to give birth. It kind of relaxes all the joints, right? So that's going to happen every time you have your period, which means the risk of injury is that little bit higher because everything's a little looser. So I'm very, very new to reading about this. I'm not a scientist, and I've only just started reading about this in the last few months, but it's really fascinating, and it's very, very complex, the impact that it can have.
I don't know about you, Spanners, but relaxin sounds like a drug I'd really, really like to take now.
Relaxing. Ask your doctor if relaxing is right for you. Hang on, we need some barroom jazz here for this advert. Are you sat at home in the lockdown with your children? Are they not listening to a word you say? You need relaxing. Relaxing will make you forget that your kids can't get on, and that you failed as a parent and failed to teach them the basics of social and moral fairness that is now leading to constant quarrels. Okay, that's enough of that. That was stupid. Right, yeah. No.
I'm sorry. What is a squirrel? Don't gloss over that. What the hell is a squirrel?
Did I say squirrel instead of quarrel?
You said squirrel. You did like a hybrid.
Okay, so I'm going to lean into this. Double down. Never admit you're wrong. It's actually a mix between quarrel and squabble. And it's a word that is very common around the more affluent parts of the country. Maybe that's why you've not heard of it.
Has it reached the Fens?
No, and I'm not going to say anything not nice about the Fens because I am a BBC Radio Cambridgeshire employee. So the Fens are
never
great.
Forget it.
Yeah, so their friends are great, and I take back anything that I said about possibly being backwards. If that was the implication of where that was going. Right, Sam Watley, great comment in there, really. If men had periods, it would be the most normal discussion in the world. So maybe we've done our little bit to kind of normalize it now. Lots of people, John Pollard says, I don't even like to use a porta potty just to take a normal leak. Lucas, porta potties are godless hellscapes. Hello.
That is so accurate.
No, I've always hated them. Like, I will do anything to avoid going to the bathroom.
Oh, they're awful.
So even like at a festival or something, or like, festival's the right word, I will avoid having beer, even though you go, it's a nice summer's day, a pint would be great, but then that's going to make me go and use a porta potty. And it just makes you realise that other humans are disgusting, Matt.
Yeah, it's definitely that. Especially runners.
I was going to ask, because I used to compete in cycling, and I can tell you that the porta potties before the start of the event were like nothing I have ever encountered anywhere. Is it the same for runners at competitive events? It's just like, you just walk in there and you're like, what? Like, there's not even words.
It's repulsive. And, you've heard about the runner's tummy, right?
No,
So, yeah.
hang on. This was one of your blog posts, and I can relate somewhat. Is when you have a physical reaction to that anxiety of an event.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a running joke, huh?
Wait.
That when you get a group of runners together, the conversation inevitably will turn to poo at some point.
I mean, well, you and I have run together at the Milton Park Run in Cambridge, and we talk about panic wheeze, and it's like how long have we got till the start? Oh, okay, that'll be a panic wee, and you go, well, if it's 10 minutes, if I go now, I'm definitely going to have to go again for some reason before the race starts. So you have to time your panic wee properly.
You do, and I'm afraid it works both ways. People do get a slightly stronger physical response to adrenaline and pre-race panic, and Portaloos are, as has been mentioned, a hellscape.
Yeah, I didn't want to say panic poop on the stream, but I guess I just...
So that's what I'm here for.
That's what you hit, periods and poop.
Periods and poop.
Well, that's the show title sorted. Absolutely.
I'm changing my blog name, that's it now.
Yep.
No more Go Running Late, periods and poop.
Periodsandpoop.com. Good, very good. I remember you saying to me once that, you had the panic toilet visit and then immediately just rejoined the queue again because you knew.
Oh, yeah. The panic wee is real, So, yeah, I would join the queue, go, join the back of the queue, go. What else are you going to do before the race? Warm up, don't be silly.
Yeah, it's good fun. Thank you very much to the live chat for joining us again. I'm really encouraged by the numbers in which you are joining us regularly. It's nice seeing the regular people there, and people are starting to download the audio version as well. missedapexpodcast.com/remain indoors will tell you how to subscribe and how to watch the live stream. But generally, search for Remain Indoors on your podcast app. It should be there now. And the same on YouTube as well. Subscribe. You can get a little bell every time we go live. If you click the little bell, it'll pop up on your phone and it will say, Remain Indoors. And you go, no, it's not a government warning. It's that Spanners and that Trumpets fella having a chat, Matt. But Matt, people are listening. So I say it's had a stay of execution. And we're going to keep going for another couple of weeks, see what we can do.
I like that plan, and I see that more people have subscribed every time I hop onto the chat. And yeah, we've gotten positive feedback on Twitter. I think for the people who are tuning in regularly, it's becoming an important, or at least a regular part of their day.
Yeah, let's not overstretch. Let's not say important, but appointment viewing and hanging out and having a bit of a social, as we were saying, with Lauren, having things like this during the lockdown, almost just to keep a routine, really, more than anything, is nice. And if we weren't doing this, would I have a vaguely nice, as far as clean and fresh smelling t-shirt on? No, I would still likely just be in my pants. Oh, good. No response.
Like I said, I'm getting dressed up every day, dude.
Are you,
I can't,
Lauren?
Yeah, I'm like properly like wearing like a jumpsuit today, because otherwise I would just be living in lycra, and that's not good for the soul after a while.
What's a jumpsuit?
It's kind of like a dress trouser hybrid.
Oh, right. And see, the first few times that we hung out and to do radio stuff, we were meeting at a park run, or we were chatting over the internet for VC. So you would very much be in sports clothes. So every time I saw you, it was sweaty, like you said, in joggers or whatever. And then you turned up to do a live thing in the studio one time, like more like this. And I was like, oh, you're an actual person, not just a sweaty running gazelle impersonation.
Yeah, I do have real clothes. Yeah, I would say my wardrobe is probably at least 50% workout gear, if not slightly more. But I think it's just, I need to feel like there's some kind of normality, and I wouldn't be sitting at my desk at work wearing Sweaty Betty shorts and a vest top. So I'm putting on a proper outfit. So I think it's just good to do that.
Yes. So I have been making a concerted effort to get dressed. That's the story, Matt, and I'm sticking to it. As an older gentleman, like you would be, I would assume hygiene just went out the window nearly instantly.
It's possible I've showered in the last week. Yes.
Confirmed.
But in the chat room, Sam H would like us to know that this is by far the most critical part of his day. And if it goes badly, it's irretrievably ruined. So no pressure at all.
I feel like he's still talking about the Aquadragon story. I still feel like he felt that ruined his day.
It could be. But if we could swing back on the topic of periods, because I know we've gotten away from it without making you uncomfortable enough. There was some talk in the chat room about nutrition and periods and periods disappearing, especially for women who are athletes. Could you address that a little bit? Do you know much about that?
Personally, I don't. It's not something that's ever happened to me. I've always been able to maintain a healthy weight, but there are certainly people who have exercised to the point where it's become an addiction and their periods have stopped because they have got so slim. So obviously there are a lot of eating disorder charities out there you can speak to, places like Beat. And there's this amazing girl called Hope Virgo who has spoken very openly about her own experiences of this, of having anorexia, over-exercising. She's written a brilliant book about it. And she's currently got a campaign going about dumping the scales because she couldn't get treatment because she wasn't thin enough.
Oh.
And so she had to lose more weight in order to be taken seriously and get seen by the specialist she needed to see. So this is completely messed up. So they need to change the system so that it's not about how much you weigh before you get admitted and seen by specialists. So Hope Virgo is a brilliant person to follow on this sort of thing.
Okay, Matt, can we move on? I've squirmed enough, haven't I? I've done all right. I've done my bit. I feel like it's a public service in a way. Not hero. I think that's too far. But I feel like I've exceeded all expectations. Speaking.
Yeah, nobody was saying hero, dude.
No, okay. Well, just in case, I just wanted to dampen that down in case anyone said
Cool,
that.
cool.
We've been doing superheroes in our house. You see, I had to give the kids a shut up yesterday. Is your smart speaker gone off there?
Yeah, I might have said something that's triggered her. I'm really sorry.
No, that's okay. We are recording live to tape, and whatever goes down goes down. So I needed to give the kids a shut up. So you've got an older kid, Lauren. You don't have kids. You're both in better positions than I am during the lockdown. Wife was working in the shed all day, and I had told myself I was going to have a day off. I was going to really try and relax yesterday. And that went about as well as anyone who knows me might have suspected. So I ended up working a bit, and I needed to give the kids some shut-ups. You think, what can I give them to give them, just so they'll leave me alone for half an hour? And I said, go and design a superhero with a costume. And I said, they have to have a superpower which seems really cool, but backfires on them horribly. Now, you said something. Who said something about superpower earlier in the show? I can't remember. Someone said something. It could have been pre-show, actually. Is it you, Matt?
Yeah, because I was talking about the ultimate superpower being the ability to magic the bins down the driveway as you hear the garbage truck approaching.
Yes. So I guess you'd have to think of a downside there, such as, but all the garbage would occasionally re-teleport back into your kitchen. So the ones the kids came up with were a flying vacuum cleaner person who, instead of shins and legs, had a vacuum cleaner and could hover and do the cleaning up. However, it would accidentally suck up and kill anybody that they loved. This is my 8-year-old daughter, I will point out, that came up with this. And then the boys' one was a girl whose magic power was telekinesis. However, she was also absent-minded, so often she would be moving things with her mind above her head, get distracted, and then the things would fall on her head and hurt her. So there we go.
Your daughter is dark.
Yep.
I was going to say that's hilarious. As far as the bins go, obviously, if one doesn't concentrate, the bins go, but the trash stays.
The bins go. Oh, right. Yeah. So the trash just stays in place perfectly where it was, but the bin, an empty bin, gets delivered out to the front to the, what do you call them? Garbage man? No, sanitation officer.
Yeah, they're sanitation trucks here in New York, but we call them garbage trucks where I grew up. So.
In the UK, we call them. No, I'm not going to make up another word for you. What's the word I made up last week that you liked so much? Oh, yeah, the Chateau de Fla Blah Blah. Yeah, we call them Fla Blah Blah trucks here in the UK. Right, when we've got an expert on, Matt, I suggest we take full advantage and ask Lauren things.
I like this idea. And we've had a question from the chat room about knees and running and what to do if your knees are, well, shall we use the word delicate rather than what was actually in the chat room? I think we shall.
Hang on, I need to find out the word. It could be fine. Oh no, that's not fine. No, let's stick with yours.
Yeah. Right, so bad knees.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one because without seeing the person or seeing them run, I can't know what's causing it. But I mean, a lot of people say that running is really bad for your knees. I've never had a problem and I've been running for 10 years. Football's worse for your knees. Cycling with that full range of motion, that can actually be worse for your knees. But for me, it's never been an issue. But If it's causing you real pain, don't run on it. That's the first option. And get seen by a specialist. Go and see a physiotherapist. And it might be that, you know, there's something wrong with your lower back or something wrong with your hip that's causing pain in the knee. Just because that's where the pain is doesn't mean that's where the problem is.
So we had a long chat actually about running with injuries. I can run. So you can prove to people when I talk about running, I don't necessarily look like the best athlete in the world, but I can physically get round a 5K with you. So you can confirm that for me.
I can absolutely confirm that. You've done that with me a couple of times and you have survived both times, and you didn't stop to walk either time either.
Oh, no. I won't stop to walk. The pace might be an issue, but I'm too obstinate to quit and just start walking. But I have been littered with injuries over the years. So we were talking about running with injuries, and we sort of settled on, well, don't run with new pain. Obviously, people are going to have existing pain. But if there's something new, that's when you have to kind of go, oh, that knee never hurt before. I best have a think about this.
I mean, everyone knows their own body, right? I mean, I know that I have certain niggles, and if they flare up, I will stop running. But it's because running is really important to me, and I don't want to really embed an injury in by running on it. But if you have always had slightly like clicky ankles or a dodgy knee, and you can run on it comfortably without causing any major pain, then I would say, you know, you can give it a go. I would never advocate running with pain, generally speaking. But I mean, I think you were kind of looking for a reason to be able to keep running with your dodgy knee spanners. So, but you said it's something you've had for a while and you're used to managing it.
No, I've had
it wasn't getting worse.
A long-term back pain. Old lefty on the knee joint there always hurts. And yeah, you go. So there are some people, especially I suppose as we get towards middle age. Am I towards middle age or am I? When?
You're fully in the thick of it. Dude.
Am I fully in the thick of middle age? Am I a middle-aged man? I thought I'd be richer by now, but yeah, I can certainly have grumpy opinions. Am I right wing now? Is that how that works? When do I turn right wing? When does that work?
When you get rich.
When you get richer.
When I get richer. Oh, okay. Well, I'm good for a while. I'll be a bleeding heart liberal for quite some time then. But yeah, Sam Watley saying, I think in my head, suck it up, buttercup. Guys around my age who are running and who have been running regularly do tend to pick up, you know, those niggles and are used to running with pain. So sometimes you have to mitigate that in a way, don't you? But
you do, yeah. Because you do want to stay fit, and the whole argument of sort of, for women especially, if you run, it tends to reduce your risk of osteoporosis when you're older because it makes your bones stronger. So you do have to weigh everything up, and then obviously you've got heart health as well. So for me, my joints are pretty strong. I've had injuries, but my big fundamental joints like my knees and ankles are generally pretty good. But one thing we've not covered yet is footwear. You have to make sure you wear decent trainers. So don't go out in your Converse for crying out loud. Go and get your gait analysed at a decent shop and find the best shoes for you.
Well, Matt's showing us his trainers, so let's start with what you've got there.
Are they ons? They're ons, aren't they?
That is correct.
Come on,
I'm just curious.
Show it in profile for the video so that we can see. Yeah, so that's more of a running shoe. Are you happy with that, Lauren? Does that please you?
You see, I tried them, did not get on with them. I think they're kind of a love or hate trainer, and I really wanted to like them, but I picked up an injury last year and the only thing that changed was those trainers. So I've moved away from that brand now, but some people love them. So
is that your go-to brand? Is it, Matt? OMS?
No, I'm if it's cheap, I'll buy it. But I did get my gait analyzed.
Oh, okay.
And they said that I was a true neutral. And the reason I brought these in is because do you think it's okay to continue running when the bottom of your shoe looks like this? And I will just tell the listeners at home that it is just totally shredded.
No.
Yeah. So those are done. But secondly, as a running coach, looking at the wear pattern, am I doing it right or right enough?
Can I just point out? Sorry to interrupt, Lauren. I'll just point out, Matt, you are holding up a predominantly green bottom of the shoe, and you are also sat behind a green screen, so it does make it hard to make. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. Is that wear pattern good or bad?
It was kind of looking like it is going more on one side than the other, which should imply that you're not a neutral runner. If it's going on the inside, you're overpronating. If it's going on the outside, you're underpronating, I think. And it doesn't look like it's a smooth wear that you've got there. So I would say potentially you're not a neutral runner, but I've not seen you on a treadmill slowing down and seeing how your foot's falling. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I went to 2 different running shoe stores, and both of them told me that my gait was neutral, but I probably tend to land on the outside of my foot and roll inwards.
Maybe it was neutral in the store.
It could just be those trainers.
Yeah. Good. So
So-
you've always nagged me, Lauren, because I like to wear
Yeah.
Reebok Classics, which is probably
Yes.
more of a pub shoe than a running shoe. But for me, it's always felt like a very solid shoe, and it's reminded me of like army boots, frankly, and it's always made me feel quite at home. It feels like I'm running in boots. But I finally cracked, and I haven't got them with me to show off, but I cracked, and I have proper
No.
running shoes, and I have been on 3 runs with them. And I was like, oh, I'm going to show her. This doesn't make a difference. And I like, yeah, like it really
Better,
does
isn't
make
it?
a difference.
It's better.
I've got a much bigger spring in my. I can't describe. I don't know the technical terms, but everything just feels a lot more bouncy and springy. And I was like, okay,
Cushioning.
this is the correct. I'm in the correct shoes now. I am doing it for running, and I'm not doing it to simulate the battlefield anymore.
This has made me very, very happy. I couldn't sort of say to you, you were wearing the wrong shoes because that's what you were comfortable with. And a lot of people need some sort of comfort blanket when they run, especially if they're getting back into it and they're nervous. And if that is your comfort blanket at that time, then absolutely fine. But I'm very glad you have got some proper shoes now.
Okay, so let's sort of go the mental aspect of running. You have obviously dealt with runners of all abilities with park run, all different ages, all different experiences. So many people start running and then just quit. Like they start and they go, this is amazing. Why haven't I been doing this forever? And then they just don't anymore. And a lot of people will be going through that cycle in the lockdown. Because what I've found is that some people are actually going out more than they were before, and they actually have the time to go and exercise. But what puts people off, that initial running period?
It's different for every person, right? So I think a lot of people, it'll be because they just find it quite hard. They go out a couple of times and they get that endorphin rush, but then it just kind of tails off a little bit. Because it will do, especially when you have get PBs, right? When you start running, you'll get PB after
Peanut
PB
butters,
after
yeah.
PB, peanut butter, yeah. And then that'll start to plateau because of course it will. You can't just keep getting faster. And I think that can have a negative effect on people. A comparison is the thief of joy, right? A lot of people will look at people around them and think, why aren't I as fast as that person who's older than me? Why am I not as fast as that person who's shorter than me, different gender? And that's a terrible thing to do.
So on the park runs that you've taken me on, I'm running around and there's a lot of pride because I'm a man, of course, a man who can build a transmitter or a radar, and there's a lot of machismo wrapped up in my fragile male ego. And, there's middle-aged women who I'd have looked at and presumed that I would easily beat in a run, flying past me. And then a guy pushing a buggy overtook me towards the end of that first park run, and I never wanted to do it again after that.
I like the fact that you failed to mention that, the 10-year-old girl.
Lauren, I deliberately didn't mention the 10-year-old girl. Was she 10? She looked older. She was like maybe 14.
No, she was not. She was really small. It's one of my favourite moments of park run is when that happened and she turned around and said to you, you can do it. It was amazing. It was so good. She was right though, you did it.
She was bouncing around in front and she was kind of like staying with us because it was a bit social, wasn't it? And it was like people tend to find themselves in groups sometimes, not necessarily go for that personal best. And the fact that this 10-year-old girl turned around, looked at my face and said, that is a human adult that is in despair. He requires my motivation. And I, as a 10-year-old, will tell him that I believe in him.
She read that situation beautifully, didn't she?
Yep.
It's one of my favourite parkrun moments, and I've done a lot of park runs, so thanks for that.
I don't do park runs, but I do run in the park. We have Prospect Park very near to my house. And one of the most frustrating things to me is when I'm out on a run and all the middle school cross-country kids are out running around the park. Now, I don't run to run fast. I have a training plan that I follow. But even still, to see a group of, 12 and 13-year-olds come just whizzing by you, chatting at the same time is just inherently demoralizing to someone who was raised on competitive sports. I'm like, no, I'm following my heart rate plan. I'm not trying to run faster than other people, but I will still try and speed. And no, I cannot keep up with them at all. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them.
Yeah, they're comfortable, chatty running pace is your absolute maximum speed, isn't it? It's horrendous. I did a cross country at the national level a couple of months ago, and I've never experienced anything like it. When I'm doing parkrun, I'm used to being quite near the front, and then this time I was so comfortably near the back, and it was just it was unbelievable how difficult it was and how demoralizing it was to see all these people sort of finding it so seemingly so easy. And at one point towards the end, somebody said to me, they went, "Oh, you could do it." And I just turned to him and went, "Please don't."
Not
I
now.
just couldn't. I
Not
couldn't
now.
on that day. Everything, all the wheels fell off. It was awful.
Whilst you did a very kind of touching post about that, and people really gathering around you on social media and going, "No, it's okay, Lauren. No, it's got." And I can't help but think, I was like, good, Lauren. Now you know how I feel when we're running together, because you're always at a very comfortable, chatty level. And you're very good at like motivating me, and you talk about my breathing and my running technique while we're doing it, which I always kind of take as a personal insult, because I'm like, Lauren is so far within her comfort zone that she's very able to chat all the way around, and I like it. I enjoyed it. It's like having the radio or a podcast on or something. But I didn't like is when I thought we were like near the end, and you were just like, "Yeah, come on, that's 2K down," and no, don't point out how little we've done.
Yeah, I learned not to do that the next time, didn't I? I was kept very quiet after that one. That did not go down well.
Don't tell me the distances. It's okay. I thought we were done. But the biggest insult you've ever given me was not intentional. It wasn't intentional at all. But we were in the car park, and you were deciding what layers to wear. And you're like, "Oh, is it cold or is it hot? Is it cold?" And then you were like, you put the extra layer back on, and you went, "Oh, I can always take it off if I get hot." And then I noticed about halfway around, I'm like, she's still wearing that thick top, so that means that like I have not pushed her at all. Like, she is so comfortable, and I'm boiling hot in my t-shirt. But then when we talked about it later on air, and this is on FM radio, the thing that came into my head was, Lauren, I was really disappointed that I was unable to make you take your top off. But I obviously I can't say that out loud. So there was this like moment of dead air where I had to readjust and sort of snigger as well. So yeah,
obviously.
But yeah, I was insulted that like you didn't even get up to the sweating pace that required you to basically take a jumper off.
It was a long sleeve top and it had perforated sleeves. It's a very thin layer, Spanners. If that makes you feel any better.
Kind of. The whole parkrun experience has been brilliant. But what it's humbling in a way, because you realise that running isn't just a thing that, like, if you're a fit and healthy person, you can go and run and be good at it. Running is its own discipline and its own hobby, and that you can get better at it with techniques and practice and stuff. And in a way, it doesn't discriminate as much as you'd think it would based on normal, like, age, gender, other sports interests.
Not at all. I mean, they always say it's a park run, not a race. So you turn up and you can do whatever pace you want. You'll get some people who can finish it in 15 minutes. Some people will take an hour. It's literally for everybody, and it's free, and it's all run by volunteers. And I miss it so much now that we're on lockdown. And honestly, that first park run back is going to be an absolute blast. If you've never done it before, do the first one back when this is all over, because it's going to be such a celebratory atmosphere.
I would imagine everything like that, when we're finally allowed to gather in crowds, will be a remarkable experience for people. But I'm curious, what exactly are the rules over there? Because here in Brooklyn, people still go out of the park and they still run. Are you allowed to run, or is your exercise time limited over there? What's the story?
It's not limited, no. So you are allowed to run. I think one of the politicians did suggest that a half an hour run or an hour walk should be sufficient for most people, but they've certainly not put any hard and fast rules down at the moment.
One a day.
One a day. Yeah, one a day. And that's one run or one walk, not one of each. And if you want to run with somebody, it has to be a member of your own family who you are living with. So you can't meet up with friends and run with them. You can only do a social run if someone in your household happens to want to go as well. And luckily my husband started running, so at least I've got a running buddy now.
Oh,
He's faster than you.
Don't do any of that.
Wow, you had to get that in, right?
I had to.
So I'm hoping that my running after the bin man didn't count as my one exercise of the day. But Matt, you were gonna take us down another gross path when it came to running. We were talking about like aerodynamics and what to do with bodily functions.
Specifically, this is a study that has yet to be released. It's an archive right now, but I think it's going out in a peer-reviewed publication done by a couple of engineers, CFD, looking at the patterns of particles from your mouth when you run. And I put the link up, and I think I've retweeted it, but I'll retweet it to the podcast later. And that would be at Indoors Remain. You're welcome.
No, remain indoors.
The @ is indoors remain on Twitter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, our Twitter account is @indoors remain and not @remain indoors.
It says remain indoors, but then after the @ sign, the words are reversed.
Oh my God! Like, what was I doing?
You probably
You're such a granddad.
Oh my God, that is the...
go look at it while I talk about this scientific study. Anyway, what they
No, let's talk about this. No, hang on a second. So, seriously.
Yeah, let's not talk about how stupid Spanners is.
Oh my God. So I set up the remaining... Hang on, let me start again. So someone set up the Remain Indoors Twitter account, but they've done @indoors remain instead of @remain. Oh my God, what an idiot. Right. Well, you can change that though. You can fix it, can't you? You can change the... Nate, I wouldn't want to lose the 18 followers we've built up so far. So I'll get that changed straight away. Jeez. Well, at least when you search Remain Indoors, it comes up. So there's that. But tell me about your CFD thing while I die inside.
Once we all stop giggling about that.
No, sorry. I'd taken myself off the video, Matt. So me, in despair, it was off camera.
It was hilarious. For those of you who didn't witness it, which was everyone, it was hilarious, as we like to say over here. No, what they've discovered is that if you were running side by side, it's actually perfectly safe because the wind you're generating by running will pull the particles directly behind you in a slipstream. Similarly, if you are passing someone, even from fairly far back, like for cyclists, they suggest a 20-meter distance if you're slipstreaming. If you're directly behind someone, you are in their cloud of particles. And especially if they were to cough or sneeze at that point, your risk is graded. So if you're behind someone, you should really stagger.
Wow, I'd not even
And you
thought
should
of
not
that.
slipstream. Yeah. And for cyclists, they said, because I see cyclists slipstreaming all the time because it is a common thing to do in cycling. It is a way you go faster. But they said like a 20-meter distance if you're cycling behind someone. So shoulder to shoulder is good. Passing, stagger yourself, but do not run directly behind people because that's where you're actually exposed to the most moisture particles from the person ahead.
So now when you go out running, Lauren, and me, obviously, definitely haven't dropped the ball over the last week. So you're going to have to be conscious now of like going, oh, I don't want to be behind that guy. I'm getting his corona particles washing over me.
Yeah, I'm giving people a seriously wide berth. If I see somebody coming, I'll be pretty proactive and I'll go out into the road and make as much room as possible. So I've been doing that already anyway. But yeah, the distance needed for cyclists was really surprising. It's a really interesting article.
Yeah, it is. So, like, if you're cycling, it's actually safer to cycle side by side than it is in a pace line. Just for what it's
Probably
worth.
just safer to remain indoors, if we're honest, guys. I think this is...
Or indoors remain.
Okay, too soon. I feel attacked and humiliated and stupid. But speaking of remaining indoors or remaining in our property, Lauren, I guess the last thing we should talk about is your Instagram, where you have been doing very Instagrammy and energetic type things. So firstly, you did like almost like an aerobics one, which my daughter copied you, and she did.
Yeah, I did
move.
a Zumba song. Yeah.
So we put it up on the thing, and I sort of started doing it, and then I was very aware that I'm not really the demographic to do a Zumba dance, and I don't think it looked anything other than ridiculous. However, my daughter doing it all looked fine, and she was having fun.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do Zumba all the time before I got into running, and I danced when I was younger. So I always really enjoyed doing stuff like that. And it's just a song that I love. So I kind of made up my own little routine to it. And I dance that song most days because it puts me in a good mood. And then I've been doing there's a lot of online class that I've been doing. And I did like this burpee challenge yesterday. And it turns out I got it wrong. So now the competitor in me is like, right, I'm going to have to do that again then, aren't I?
I have issues with that video where you did burpees but you did it in like time.
Squats.
Yeah, but you did it in time lapse. So it was you in your normal, already shaming levels of energy, but like sped up. And then I was like, no, I can't watch any more of that. But it is quite motivational. And I do suggest people go over and check out what you're doing. Because since the lockdown, you've been putting a lot of that kind of content up there. So I don't know, how does Instagram work? Is it an @?
Yep.
Or you just type in girl running late.
Just girl running late, yeah.
Instagram like that. And also girl running late on Twitter, and your blog at girlrunninglate.com. What's your schedule for today? What have you already done your daily?
Yeah, I did a run this morning. Went out into the fens for 4 miles. So I think I probably saw 10 people in total. So it's nice and quiet this morning. I'm not very good when it's hot, so I tend to try and get out before it gets too warm. And then I'm doing Zumba this evening.
Doing Zumba online this evening, and the last time we spoke on radio, you did a little workout routine for the listeners. So maybe I can point the listeners to that as well. It is on the girlrunninglate.com site as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's just a little strength and conditioning circuit. So it's things like squats and lunges and burpees and that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm going to do it with the family, and I'll report back on when's the next Indoors Remain show on Monday with Tim Linden. We're going to be joined by Tim Linden, radio DJ, and he doesn't like it when I always talk about it, but he used to do the QVC, the shopping channel stuff. I know.
Amazing.
And I've looked at the videos and it's really fun, and I kind of want to do it now, Matt.
I bet he has a house full of interesting knickknacks.
Yeah, exactly. I saw him do that and I was like, I want to audition for QVC. I wonder if it's hard. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's hard to get on those shopping channels?
Yes.
You reckon? I'll give it a go.
Definitely.
I'll give it a go.
I'd swear. Buy this effing broom.
Yeah, it's really effing brilliant. Thank you very much, Lauren Thomas. Girlrunninglate.com on Twitter. Girlrunninglate everywhere. Go check out our Instagram and go and check out the website at girlrunninglate.com. Matt, would you like to join me again on Monday and maybe Tuesday and perhaps Thursday of next week at 2 p.m. live, or perhaps catch up with the recording later on your podcatcher of choice by searching for Remain Indoors?
I think it's not a question of would I like to. It's a question of can I remember that long?
I'll remind you. I'll send you frequent reminders. Thank you for joining us, guys. We're having an absolute blast doing this. Do get in touch. spannersready@gmail.com. Tell me the guests you liked and the guests you didn't like, and we'll invite the guests you liked more than the ones you didn't. And what I'll do is I will just ghost them if they WhatsApp, hey, Spanners, we should do another Remain Indoors. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, just really full schedule at the moment. I'll let you know when we can get back to you. But let us know, spannersready@gmail.com, and tell your friends. An iTunes review would be really, really appreciated. 5 stars. You can be as insulting as you want, but 5 stars. So feel free to be 5 stars, but Matt looks like a hairy thumb. That's fine. As long as it's 5 stars, that gets us up into the charts and gets people knowing that we're doing this thing. And even after the lockdown is over, me and Matt want to continue doing some kind of afternoon drive style type talk radio thing. So we're going to keep doing something, but not now. We're going to stop now and play that music. Yep, there it goes. We know how this was made now. This has been Indoors Remain. Don't go to the out. There be dragons. Aqua dragons. And that's what we're going to do next week. It's going to be Aqua Dragons special. 1,000 hours of Aqua Dragons content on repeat. In fact, the same 5-minute story on a loop. Aqua Dragons all day, every day. We're going to change the Twitter handle to @AquaDragons or @DragonsAqua.
A cheese dream.
What? The what?
A cheese dream. What the heck is going on?
A cheese dream?
Cheese, and then you have those weird dreams.
You've gone so weird. Your sound's gone so weird. Oh, I see. Me saying about the Aqua Dragons was like a cheese dream. I got you. Your sound has gone terrible, but that timing's really good. So I'm glad it's now and not earlier. No, it's good. The timing of this malfunction is amazing, Matt. We've never had that kind of luck.
That'll never happen again.
You sound
usually it's in the middle of the show.
You sound like you're talking in an Aqua Dragon tank.
Change nothing.
Yeah, that's what Matt thinks. I haven't changed a damn thing. I haven't done anything wrong. It's the same as last time. And then Matt's like, oh no, apart from these 5 cables that I detached to play iRacing.
I don't detach any cables to play iRacing.
Fine, whatever. We're still on the live stream. I suppose I should kill that. Hey guys, we definitely have to call this Periods and Poop. I think it's a bit immature to put poop in a title, but I think that's where we're going to go. Live stream. Goodbye. We're not going to waffle today. We're going to leave you. There's a splash screen there. No, that's the one we're still with my face. I'm really good at this. I'm professional. Shut your faces. It's over now. There we go. Good. And mute. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.